So this is one of those topics that you've seen debated, I guess, for 46 years.
It's the most enduring moral and political issue of our time.
So I think a lot of Republicans in Washington suspect that if we ever had a real debate on it, they would lose, which is why we don't have a real debate on it ever, really. Now we're starting to have a real debate on it. Do you think that the Republican side, the pro-life side, will lose?
No, I think in the long run, that's the pro-life side will win. You know, you can remember that Bill Clinton had a formulation he used to use when he was discussing abortion rights guaranteed by Roe versus Wade. He wanted abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. Well, it's by and large safe, I think. It's certainly legal, but it's certainly not rare. We're talking now, estimates are as many as 60 million human lives, millions of those with beating hearts, snuffed out by abortion since Roe versus Wade was decided in 1973. That is a staggering total of loss of human life. And, you know, I don't think that I think that the proponents of abortion rights deep down know that it doesn't sit well with people. That's why they will, NARAL will call itself the National Abortion Rights Action League, but Planned Parenthood calls itself something it's not, which is about parenthood. It is certainly not about parenthood. And you have all these other euphemisms, you know, women's choice, women's health, and my favorite of all is reproductive rights, because if abortions are about one thing, it's not reproduction, it is anti-reproductive rights.
Yes.
And once, you know, you can kind of sense that it is understood on the part of those who adopt such terms that you know, they're skating on moral thin ice here, and they better not call this really what it is, which is the taking of innocent human life.
Do you think the hysteria that you see on the subject, really from one side, from the pro-choice side,
right,
comes from the fact that deep down they know it's an atrocity?
Yes, I think it does. And they also know that as a legal matter, and you touched on this in your comments, as a legal matter, the decision is an abomination. I mean, and you're correct that even pro-choice lawyers and legal scholars will admit that. I mean, the Supreme Court in 1968, in a strange case, kind of created out of thin air a all-purpose right to privacy, which is nowhere set forth in the Constitution. Griswold versus Connecticut, where they said that this right emanated from the numbers of some section of the Constitution. It's a joke. And then 5 years later, the Supreme Court invented out of that the right to an abortion, out of a right to privacy. It's pretty weak stuff. And you know, if it were ever really decided anew on the merits, I don't think it would stand. But I also don't think this Alabama gambit is going to work. And the reason I think that is that it will get to a trial court, and soon, and a judge bound by Roe versus Wade will strike it down.
Right.
It will get to an appellate court, and I don't think it'll be reversed there. The Supreme Court will then, in my judgment, decline to hear it, and that'll be that. So I think, you know, Missouri may be onto something. They may have, you know, they've got some fallback positions there that may hold. But I don't think these all-out challenges, head-on challenges to Roe versus Wade will work right now.
Huh. Do you think that as a political matter, having the conversation, describing what it is that we're debating, abortion, not choice, not reproductive rights, but abortion, is that an effective strategy for people who think?
Yeah, and I think increasingly it is, Tucker, because science is telling us more and more all the time about just how much of a person these fetuses are.
Yes.
You know, we now know earlier than we thought that we detect a heartbeat. There are now studies that indicate, you know, as that legislator was just telling you about you know, the sensation of pain. If it ever becomes universally accepted that abortion is painful to the fetus, I think that changes the whole equation.
I think it does too. Britt Hume, thank you.
You bet.
Well, the left